안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. It's Natalia, and as promised, I am back with a video about improving your Korean pronunciation so that you can sound more natural, more fluent in the language as you are speaking it. So 저를 모르는 분들이 계실 것 같아서 제가 한국말로 간단하게 자기소개를 하겠습니다. 네, 제가 한국어 배운 지 이제 8년? 네, 8년이 조금 넘었고 한국에서 생활한 지 거의 3년 반 지났습니다. 네. 그래서 제가 뭐 한국에서 어떻게 살게 됐냐면 그 어학당을 다니려고 왔는데 프로그램이 끝나고 나서도 한국을 떠나고 싶은 마음이 없어서 그 한국 회사에 입사하게 됐습니다. 그래서 이제는 저 그 해외 마케팅 담당하고 있습니다. 저희 회사에서. That is who is offering you tips and advice on improving your Korean pronunciation. You can judge for yourself if my Korean pronunciation is good or not good, or if I sound like a foreigner or not. I mean, personally, I think I still kind of sound like a foreigner, but like, I have some tips. Up to you if you want to listen to me or not, but let's go ahead and jump into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to master the Korean vowel sounds. So Korean has 10 vowel sounds, and when you're a beginner, it is super easy to get them mixed up and confused. I mean, some of them sound pretty similar, but if you mispronounce them, they can lead to all types of misunderstandings. I can speak from personal experience as someone who has mispronounced many words over the past 8 years, and I'm sure will continue to pronounce or mispronounce a lot of words in the future. A big one that I notice beginners and even intermediates confusing is and o. Let's mispronounce the word 5 and pronounce it correctly and see if you can tell which one is which. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the right one. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one is 1, 2, 3, 4 what? 1, 2, 3, 4 what? Literally all like 뭐라고? Like it's literally that, but like stable pitch. If you couldn't hear the difference between those two, I encourage you to spend some time trying to distinguish the difference between the different vowel sounds. There are so many great resources here on YouTube from native speakers, from Korean teachers about how to shape your mouth and where to put your tongue and stuff. I'm not gonna try and like teach them to you because I am not perfect with all of my pronunciation. I still have so much work I can do to improve, and I don't want to be the reason that you pronounce things incorrectly. So I will entrust those teachers to teach you correctly. Tip number 2 is to work on your consonants, especially the consonant lil. I feel like lil gives so many learners a hard time, especially those who are more earlier on in their studies. Like, when is it an L? When is it an R? And I know we're not supposed to like make one-on-one comparisons when learning languages, but honestly, I feel like this comparison helps more people than it hurts. So just bear with me, okay? So Lil has 3 different pronunciation rules that you need to know when determining if it's more of an L or more of an R. And once you know these rules, it's like everything is clear. It just makes sense. Like you can find a new word or see a new word and you know how to pronounce it once you know these rules. I actually made a dedicated video to break down all these rules a few years ago. So I'm gonna link that video for you in the description box if you need it. Tip number 3 is to learn how to correctly pronounce 이. So I feel like 이 is the diphthong that gives learners the biggest issue. Like just like lil, depending on where 이 is in the sentence, it's like pronunciation completely changes. 이 can be 이 or 에. 이 or 에. So I did prepare some examples for you guys. So the first one is 의원, 의심, 편의점, 여의도, 동의하다, and 나의, 너의, 그 사람의, 너의, 나의. So 이, and 에. I don't know why I did this to you. But so the good thing is that just like lil, once you learn the pronunciation rules associated with 이, it's really easy to know how you're supposed to pronounce it. You don't need to know the word. You don't have to hear the word said to know how to pronounce it, because if you know the rules, you know how it's pronounced. Now, I do want to say that while there are all these pronunciation rules in Korean, I don't want you to get stressed thinking, oh my goodness, I have to memorize all these rules. I always have to think about them when I learn new words. Like, no. In the beginning, yes, you will have to think about them. But as you get more and more exposure to Korean and you advance in the language, you won't be thinking about these rules anymore. Like now that I'm advanced in Korean, I never think about these rules. I just know them. They're like second nature to me. You can give me a paragraph of like, I don't know, the news and be like, read this out loud. And there could be so many words that I don't know, but I'm gonna pronounce them correctly. Even though there's all these crazy pronunciation rules, because yes, Korean has so many different pronunciation rules, so many that I can't even fit them all in this video. But like, I'm not thinking about all these rules. They just come out of my mouth. And I promise that you will learn them and there will come a point where you don't have to think about them. Going back to E, because I did go on like a motivational tangent right there. If you are needing help with knowing how to pronounce E and what the pronunciation rules are, I did make a dedicated video to those rules quite a few years ago. Again, I will link it for you in the description box, along with the video about how to pronounce Lil. So having said that, if you are someone that is really wanting to get as much as you can out of like a resource in terms of learning how to correctly pronounce Korean words, learning what all of these rules are, because like I mentioned, there are a lot. There's so many rules. Then a good resource for that is Story Learning. And yes, full disclosure, Story Learning is sponsoring this video. But as I say in all my videos, that doesn't change the fact that their courses are very good, especially their pronunciation lessons. So if you haven't heard me talk about Story Learning before, Story Learning is a language learning platform that helps you learn Korean in context through stories. Every chapter starts off with you immersing yourself in Korean through a story, then going on to watch pre-recorded lessons with a native speaker so that you can learn what's going on. You can learn the grammar, the vocab, the cultural aspects that affect the story, as well as the pronunciation. Every single chapter comes with a lesson dedicated to improving your pronunciation, dedicated to teaching you these different pronunciation rules. Story Learning is a great resource to really learn all of these rules, all these pronunciation rules in context with the story that you're learning, with the words that are appearing in that story, with the sentences, the fixed expressions, and everything. Other than their pronunciation lessons, another thing that I want to highlight about the Korean Uncovered Level 1 course, or their Beginner 1 course, is that their content, unlike a lot of other resources, doesn't focus on student life. Instead, it focuses on being a tourist in Korea, which honestly, I know who watches my videos. A lot of you are the same age as me, or like within that same age bracket. Like, we're not students anymore. So focusing on school life isn't necessarily that helpful for us. But with Story Learning, because they're focusing on arriving at Incheon Airport, getting to Seoul, getting to Jeonju, buying a gift for like a Korean friend and things like that, it's more practical Korean for people in our age group. And I think that's really helpful because a lot of textbooks, for example, focus on that student life. It doesn't suit us anymore. It's not the kind of Korean situations that we need exposure to right now. So just wanted to highlight that. If you're interested in trying out the course, you can use the link in my description box. Story Learning is doing a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. So the course is usually sold at $297. Yeah, $297. But for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they are dropping that price to $97. Guys, that's 20 chapters of content, each with 6 lessons for $97. And it's yours forever. And honestly, I think the courses are really good, so I don't think you'll regret trying it out. I think a lot of you, I know a lot of you have already bought it and liked it, but I'm just saying, like, if you've been thinking about it, maybe now is the time. I'm gonna let you guys think about their offer for a little bit, and let's talk more about how to improve your Korean pronunciation. Tip number 4 is to learn Korean intonation and to learn it well. So Korean has very specific intonation patterns, and when you get them right, you sound so native, you sound so fluent, you sound so good at Korean, like, ooh. Yes. Also, where you put the stress in a sentence can completely change the meaning of the sentence, just like in English. So I think a good example of stress and intonation changing the meaning of a sentence or what you're saying would be, let's hope I do this right since I'm trying to say it not in context, but 어디 가요? And 어디 가요? These two questions probably sounded so similar, but they actually have 2 different meanings. So the first one, if I say 어디 가요? It means, where are you going? And the person is going to tell me where they're going. The second one, if I say 어디 가요? Means, are you going somewhere? Like, do you have somewhere to be? Why are you dressed like that? And that person, they're not necessarily going to tell me where they're going. They're just going to say, yes, I'm going somewhere. Or they might say, oh, yes, I have a party after work. Oh, yes, I have to go to my friend's, wedding or something. Like, if my coworker comes into work, this is something I've actually said. If my coworker comes to work and they're dressed so nice, so nice, like so much nicer than usual. I could say, 오늘 어디 가요? Meaning, like, do you have like plans today? Are you going somewhere special? And I hope that you could hear the difference between the two. It's kind of hard to say it without the context of the situation. So maybe that wasn't the best example I could have given you. And if it isn't, I apologize. But I hope that you will watch a lot of Korean content and really, really pay attention to how native speakers change their intonation and where they put the stress in their sentences and how that changes the meaning of their sentences, even when the words are exactly the same. Tip number 5 is to record yourself speaking Korean and then listening to it, which I know you guys are already like cringing. Like I know, it's super cringy to listen to your own voice, especially when you're trying to speak in a foreign language, because you know that you're not gonna sound perfect the first time, the second time, the third time. There are times now when I speak Korean, I'm like, oh, why did I pronounce that word like that? Like that's just wrong. But I really feel like do it. Record yourself speaking Korean, because nothing makes you more aware of your mistakes than actually hearing yourself make that mistake and then being able to adjust your pronunciation or your intonation. Like if you can hear the mistake, you know where you need to improve, and you don't have to like do anything super complicated. You could just like say a few words, maybe not a few words, say like some short sentences, record them, listen back to them, adjust your pronunciation as needed, and then keep that recording. Don't delete it. I know you're gonna be tempted to delete it because it's cringe, right? Don't delete it. Keep it. That way, months later, you can listen to it and be like, dang, I can't believe I used to sound like that. Like, look how I sound now. Or listen to how I sound now, because you're talking about a recording. But keep it. I have recordings from 7 years ago. So when I was 1 year into learning Korean, I remember at the time being like, my Korean is so good. No, I said so many things wrong. Like just pronunciation wise, was so wrong. I sounded like such a foreigner. I sounded so... There are so many more tips and study methods that I could share to help you improve your Korean pronunciation, but I think I'll share those in a future video. So I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget, you can get Story Learning's Korean course for $97 for a limited time only for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, using the link in my description box. So check that out. And of course, thank you to Story Learning for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. So 다음에 봐요, guys. Bye.